Hey guys, Urban Combat Survivor here. I'm doing a video here about something that has gone on down in Texas. It's about a man named Paul Copeland. And to make a long story short, what happened with this guy is this. The man rented a table at a local gun show, and he was selling guns, legally now. What happened was this. Two gentlemen came in, and one of the gentlemen purchased a gun from Paul Copeland. The man who purchased the gun presented a legal, valid Texas driver's license. That person was here illegally. He had come in on a worker visa, and the worker visa had expired, which made him an illegal alien at that point. The owner of the gun table, Paul, was then arrested and charged with selling a gun to an illegal immigrant. Neither of the two people involved on the other side of the sale were arrested or charged with this gun sale. Okay? Now, the situation is a little hinky, and the way it has been presented, I think, is offensive to anyone who has dealt with these kinds of situations. So let me explain the way it was presented. I'm going to use lighters as an example. Okay, the orange lighter here is the guy who wants to buy a gun from me. The orange lighter doesn't speak English. The blue lighter is the buddy of the guy who wants to buy the gun. Here's the way this went down. This guy does not speak English. We're going to turn that upside down so you know who doesn't speak English. This guy does. I am talking to the guy over here who speaks English. This guy is talking to the guy over here who speaks English and Spanish. Now, I think I have a unique perspective on this because my family used to sell furniture in a lot of areas that a lot of people didn't speak English. So I know this happens all the time. But I'll get to that in a bit. Okay, remember, this guy doesn't speak English. This guy speaks both English and Spanish. This guy wants to buy a gun and has a valid Texas driver's license. This guy does the translating back and forth. Now, as a gun seller in Texas, I check this guy's driver's license because he wants the fucking gun. This guy does all the translating. So the guy in the orange guy here who does not speak English hands the money to this guy, who then hands the money to me. I hand the gun to this guy, who has a valid Texas driver's license. The way this goes down is this. The cops who arrested Paul Copeland claim that because of the way the transaction went down, he should have known that something was wrong. Now let me tell you why that's bullshit. If Paul Copeland had refused to deal with this guy because he doesn't speak English, you know what would happen? He'd probably be locked up for fucking discrimination. It's illegal to discriminate against anybody based on the color of their skin, their religion, national origin, etc. It's obvious that this guy is a Mexican in Texas with a legal, valid Texas driver's license. Now, the driver's license wasn't issued in such a way that it expired when the guy's visa into the country expired. So when that visa expired, this guy's license is still fucking valid. How am I supposed to know that if I'm selling the man a gun? Am I supposed to just refuse to deal with anybody who doesn't speak English? Well, we all remember the bullshit in my city, Philadelphia. There's a place down in South Philly who put a sign up, order in English or you don't get shit. It made national news. There were people down there protesting. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to turn down anybody... Sorry, this guy speaks English. I'm supposed to turn down anybody who doesn't speak English? Sorry, I can't sell you something, even though you have a legal and valid Texas driver's license. How long you think before the fucking lawsuits start rolling in for discrimination over this? So, I do what I have to do. I get a translator who the guy conveniently brought with him. Now, when Paul Copeland handed this guy the gun, this guy tried to hand the gun to this guy, and he said, "No, that's not his gun. That's your gun. I didn't sell him a gun. He didn't show me a driver's license." And made him take the gun back. Okay? At the point that I sold you a gun, and you start handing it to your friend, how is that my fault? How is that something that... What am I supposed to do about that? Well, I'll tell you, what's going to happen in the future is this. People are going to get turned down. Or what I'd have done is I'd have picked up my fucking phone right then and said, "Hey, I just sold a guy a gun and he tried to hand it to somebody else." And I'd have reported it to the police. For no other reason to cover my own ass. Not because I think there's anything else going on there. There's no situation. The only thing that man could have done, Paul Copeland, in that situation, without getting fist fucked, he's going to jail. This guy's going to jail for this. He did nothing wrong and he's going to jail. The only thing he could have done in that situation is call the cops. That is the only recourse he had for that situation. If he'd have turned the man away because he doesn't speak English, he's looking at lawsuits. If he sells the man a gun and somehow doesn't have his magic wand and knows, wait, bing, bing, wait, he has a valid license, but he's actually illegal. His visa has expired. So what's he supposed to do? Ask the man for his visa now? He's got a legal Texas driver's license. What the fuck is he supposed to do to assure that that man is here legally? Check his driver's license? Obviously that's not the case. So any one of us in the country now who's doing any kind of business where in any capacity we ever might deal with someone who don't speak English. If they don't speak English, how are we supposed to deal with them? Am I supposed to call the cops? The only thing Paul Copeland could have done in that situation was dial 911 and say there are suspicious people at my table here. And what would have happened? They probably would have busted his balls as a racist. What's the win on that situation? Tell me what the win is. There is no win. There's no end game for that he could have done without catching shit in one way or another. But I'll tell you what, I bet you there's going to be a lot of people now at gun shows, particularly in Texas. If you don't speak English, they're not going to serve you. And when they don't serve you, they're probably going to get sued. So what's the answer? Well, if I had a table at a gun show and somebody didn't speak English, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd pick up my fucking phone and I'd call 911. And I'd say, "Hey, there's somebody suspicious here. I'm worried about whether or not they're here legally. And I know that guy Paul Copeland got locked up for this, so I don't want to sell them a gun. I'd need a police officer here to verify that they're valid." It's the only thing you can fucking do, right? The situation is bullshit. The whole thing is bullshit. So if you think there was some kind of win in that situation, some way as an average citizen Paul Copeland could have come up with a solution, please do a video response. But as it sits right now, that man is going to get put in jail. Now look, go read about the case. Google his name, Paul Copeland. There's nothing else involved in this story that I didn't tell you. Mind you, neither of the two guys involved that purchased the gun were fucking charged. The illegal immigrant who illegally purchased a gun from this guy was not fucking charged. No, that dude walked scot-free. So tell me what this guy could have done. This pisses me off. It's probably pretty obvious. There needs to be, there's a powder keg building. And these idiots just keep packing and packing more powder into that powder keg. I'm worried that common sense is not going to prevail before that thing blows. I hope I don't see that. But it seems like that's what they're pushing for, doesn't it? Urban Combat Survivor, signing off.